Let's start with the importance of spending the time it takes to revitalize yourself for the grind, because you know the grind is coming. What are some of the things that you as a veteran player in this league make sure that you've done to get ready?
Oh man, I'll tell you, it was such an adjustment period for me after ending the season like mid-June. I wish we'd have kept going and won that thing, but sometimes life will throw you some lessons that you got to be able to maneuver around. So I felt like that was one of them, especially in terms of my craft. But outside of basketball, I was learning how to vacation again, learning how to rest and recover and be able to travel with my family. You know, I spent so much time being committed to the game and being committed to being the greatest version of myself. I had to be able to spend some valuable time with them. So it's definitely important, especially at my age, to help my family become more aware of different things I got to do to help balance being in season and then being out of season, but also most importantly having fun and being able to be a student of life, you know, being a greater father, greater brother, greater son. So yeah, it's important to get rest all around the board.
I'm looking forward to asking you these particular questions because I know how reflective you are and how much you are a student of the game. You guys found something late last season and it obviously carried over into the playoffs. Upon your reflection, what did you find and how do you try and run it back?
Well, reflecting on the season was probably the most difficult task because I felt like we had a great year. We just didn't accomplish our ultimate goal, which is to win a championship. So you're trying to celebrate. I'm trying to celebrate all the small wins. I'm trying to text as many of my teammates, as much as the staff, but also give them their space to be able to decompress, disconnect, and then be able to do their own reflecting. So I think we had some time to get to know one another later on in the season after the trade deadline. We had some new pieces come in. We had some new lineups. We had a new kind of change in framework on how we're going to position ourselves on the offensive end and defensively. So yeah, it was a lot of new things that were coming to us, and I felt like our group really were receptive to everything Coach was saying, everything our GM was saying, and just giving that belief. You know, there weren't a lot of people that believed that we could be in the final start of last year, right? When we started here last time with Media Day, there wasn't a lot of people picking us. We were middle of the pack, which rightfully so. We hadn't proven anything, and it's still the same attitude this season. We haven't proven anything until we play, but we know where we pretty much stack up in terms of the best teams in the world, and we want to be right there at between one and nothing else. Right. And in order to do that, you got to be able to learn from the lessons, the hardships, the difficulties, the barriers that we went through with the team that we started with, and then also the team we ended with. And now that we're adding new pieces, I feel like our responsibility, our accountability has grown, and we're able to talk to each other a little bit more fluidly because we know some of the guys that are returning. We have a pretty strong core group that's returning, so I feel confident.
From listening to you talk about that, it sounds as though from a chemistry standpoint, you guys did the tough work of digging in and finding out more about each other, and then being able to enact that and bring it to the basketball court to help you guys.
I agree with that.
How does that further your ability to be at your best as a team?
This year, it feels like we have taken some pressure off one another because of the added pieces. You know, we have guys that have championship experience. I'm not the only one in the locker room per se that's lost at the highest level and won at the highest level. So I know what it's like to lose. I know what it feels like, but I also know what it's like to win and how tough it is. So just managing our realistic expectations and then also being very direct with what we want to accomplish and how we want to accomplish and what we need from each other every single day in order to achieve that. So it's not an easy task, but I know that we're capable of doing it because we have put in that day-to-day grinding work of getting to know one another and also being the underdog, sort of say, or being, you know, the team that's not necessarily picked to win a series, or a team that loses the first game of a series, and now you're going back and you're trying to figure it out because no one else on the team has lost, you know, probably a first game or game 2 or a game 3 or a game 4 or has never been down in a series, right? Like, so all of these experiences are good for us to continue to grow as men and our whole entire staff and organization to grow as a cultural group that's going to be here for a while in this era that's coming up.
They're giving me a wrap, so quickly, it's you, it's Luka, it's Kyrie, and a bunch of really good players around you guys. When you think about the ceiling for this club, what will it take from all of you to get there?
That's an interesting question because all the pieces have to mesh incredibly well. And like you said, and what you previously stated, just the chemistry and what it took to develop it, that doesn't just happen day one. and or it doesn't happen often on day one. So if we're able to come into camp and find it around day 12, 13, or even day 50, right? I'm happy, because the important thing for us is peaking at the right time. We want to be healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically going into the postseason. But in order to get into the postseason, you have to earn your way there. So we have to take every day as a gift and something that we can continue to grow and continue to just develop more nuances of how do we get to know each other when we're in the heat of the battle. I mean, of course, we're going against the good teams, but the great teams, they have a cohesion, they have a chemistry that's built, they have a culture, and they have a trust and a love for competing at the high level. So we're developing that, and I feel like we're there. We just have to continue to show that consistently.